so sorry about this. Let me take this out here and charge it up for a minute. Just hang out, lay on your phone for a minute.
All good, man. I know how it goes.
How many times do you tell your kids, just play on your phones? just get your phones out for a minute.
If they're being super annoying and keep bugging about like, oh, can we just call it early today? Can we whatever? Sometimes I'll tell them, all right, whatever, pack it up, I don't care. But you gotta stay here, like you can't leave.
That's too funny.
My brother moved out here probably about the same time you did, around 2014, 2015.
No kidding.
He's married, got kids now, and then
cool.
Probably about 2 years ago, he just cut off the whole family. Like, no contact, no nothing. Like, just...
You too?
Yeah. He doesn't talk to anybody anymore.
Wow. Like,
I was in grad school at the time. Like, I was like, nuts, man. I was working full time. I was in grad school. It was crazy.
We're going to talk about that. Hold on. Let's save this story. This is good.
And he just cut me off. Everybody was like, oh, okay, whatever.
That is fucking wild. That's good shit. I mean, it's not good shit. It sucks, but...
I mean, it's whatever at this point, but yeah.
Well, I have comments, but I'll save it for the podcast. Oh my god, what am I doing with my life? Hold on, I gotta find my SD card out. Man, my level of unpreparedness today is epic.
Yeah, happens as a teacher. Sometimes the kids come in and they're like, what are we doing today? Oh, I don't know.
Well, the way this went is like I pulled everything apart to get it all uploaded to my computer, free up space and whatnot, be prepared for this. And I left everything all fucked up. You know, one of these days I'll be fucking on it. First time.
We always say that.
Yeah.
Never knew.
No, that was prior to you. I forget.
Yeah.
I forget. Our mariachi stories are completely different.
Oh yeah, I'm a baby.
How old are you now?
34.
And we're in business. Okay. All right. Tell me how your volume is. Do you need more? You need more level, or you can hear good?
Yeah, I need a little more.
How about that? Okay. So volume good.
Yeah, volume's good there.
Okay. Damn, Gabe, you're like me, bro. Your volume level's up where mine is. I'm a deaf man.
Yeah, I'm a pro musician. I'm pretty deaf.
Good call. Good point. Welcome to Ordinary Joe's Extraordinary Stories, a podcast that shines a light on ordinary people and their extraordinary stories. From small towns to big cities, we're sharing the real, raw, and inspiring moments that connect us all. Because every voice matters. Every story counts. This is Ordinary Joe's Extraordinary Stories. All right, Joes, you know what time it is. You're back for another one. Thank you for joining us. My guest today is Gabe Tafoya. Now, Gabe and I have known each other for, it's a long time now. How long have we known each other by your estimation?
Like 14 years, something like that.
Yeah. And I do recall how we met. Do you know that?
Yeah.
So, foreshadowing here, future guests on the podcast, her father and I were trying to get a little mariachi group going, and he knew your parents, as a matter of fact.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, yeah, let's go meet with these guys. And they have a son who's just picked up the violin. He's starting to teach himself, and, we can get a mariachi going out of this. And I said, all right, cool, let's go check it out. And then Gabe was there. Yeah, and then Gabe and I played in several mariachis from that point moving forward. And you still are a mariachi to this day, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, thank you for coming and doing this. Welcome to the podcast.
Totally. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Let's start. There's so many topics that I want to cover with you, and I hope you have time and grabbed a Snickers because it's going to be a while. Okay. So let's start with the mariachi stuff. Our little group, we didn't really do any gig. I mean, maybe we did a couple, but you started with your parents just out of a curiosity, I assume?
Yeah, it was super random. I picked up guitar when I was 14.
Okay,
My parents had been trying to get me to learn a musical instrument ever since I was a little kid, but I wasn't interested. It wasn't my thing.
sure.
And then when I kind of got into like rock music, like my eighth grade year, that was when I really wanted to start learning something. And I played guitar for 4 years all through high school, and just randomly asked for a violin for my 18th birthday.
Wild.
And everybody was like, "Why? You already play guitar and you've actually gotten pretty good." I was like, "I don't know. It's just something I want to try." So my grandma bought me a violin for my 18th birthday. And like, as soon as I started learning it, I was like, I don't want to play any other instrument. Like, this is the
Nice.
one I want to do.
That's
Um,
crazy. And what was it specifically about the violin that enticed you so much?
it was hard.
Really?
That's
So
what I liked about
you
it.
liked the challenge?
Yeah, yeah.
Bro, that's cool. That's really admirable. Um, how long did it take you to perfect it?
Oh God, I still haven't perfected it.
Ah, come on. You're being modest now.
Um,
Okay, to be comfortable with it. How
to
long?
be comfortable with it. Oh man, that took years.
Yeah.
Um, when I met you, I had only been playing for 2 years, totally self-taught, never had a lesson in my life.
And you were already damn good. I'm just gonna comment on that.
Uh, um, when I got my degree in computer science,
Oh,
um,
that's cool.
got an internship with the state, and realized that like while I loved the subject area and I still do, it wasn't the right field for me to work in.
Interesting.
Um,
Where'd you go to college, by the way?
I went to the community college. It's where I got my associates,
Okay,
and
cool.
then I was like less than a year out from graduating from Highlands,
Oh, wow.
and got an internship with the state doing computer science stuff, and just hated it. It was
Really?
miserable. Like just sitting in an office all day on the computer.
I
Like
get it.
just
I get it.
I love the problem solving. I love the programming and all that stuff, but at that time I was gigging with Differencia pretty regularly, and I
Right.
was like, man, I want to just play music. Like,
That's fucking cool, dude. That's
so I just
admirable.
changed schools and had to start all over again. It took me about 3 years to get my bachelor's at that point, and
Damn.
that was when I had my first private lesson. And my violin teacher was like, "Oh my god, who taught you?" I'm like, "Nobody."
I taught me. That's crazy. And so tell me more about that, about your violin teacher. What was the thoughts when you what was the reaction when they found out that you taught yourself?
My violin teacher in college was a jerk.
No kidding.
Yeah, I specifically remember, like, in music school, we would have all of our regular classes during the week. And then on Fridays, the only classes that would meet were your ensembles. So, like, I would have choir, and I was doing Celtic music. So I was in like the Celtic ensemble in the
That's
mornings.
crazy.
And then the last thing I had for the week, every Friday afternoon, I would have my violin lesson. And I would just, I mean, come home and crying most days because he was just such a jerk. Like, I'd
Jeez.
walk into my lessons and he would like roll his eyes at me and tell me like, "Oh, great, I get to hear you play out of tune for an hour. I'm so excited." And like, just
Holy
make comments like
shit.
that like the whole time. And he was the type of guy like, "You're lucky I even take my violin out of the case. Like, you're not
Oh my
privileged enough to hear
god.
me play." I was like, "Oh, great."
Wow, dude. Talk that there's I just want to be on record saying that there should not be educators like that. They're here to encourage, not discourage. That sounds horrible.
Yeah, I completely agree. It was just a wild experience
That's
in
fucking
college. And
nuts. And which college was that at?
Santa Fe University of Art and Design, it used to be the College of Santa Fe, and
Okay. Yeah,
got
yeah.
bought out by Laureate Education, like a private company.
Did you ever tell anybody about that?
Yeah, what ended up happening is one day in my music theory class, I think I was like a sophomore at that point. Um, I don't know what ended up happening. Like it was one of those weird days where like we didn't do anything in class,
Okay.
but my professor for that class was the chair of the music department, and a bunch of us were just talking about like things that we would like to see changed in the department. And me and two other people in the class were the only violinists, because it was kind of like a alternative music program. There weren't that many violinists in the program. It was like rock musicians and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
So we were all telling him that we hated the violin teacher, and he was like, "Why?" And we kind of went into detail about like what a jerk he was, and like he was wondering why nobody wanted to sign up for violin lessons anymore, because taking lessons is part of your degree program as as a music major. Like you
Okay.
register for it like a class, and you have to do it like so many semesters in order to graduate. And everybody was switching instruments. Like all the violinists wanted to do lessons in other instruments because they just didn't want to take lessons with
They're
this
like, I'd like to
guy.
play flute, please.
Yeah, seriously. I took clarinet lessons for a little while,
Oh
and
shit! Wow,
other people were doing like guitar and drums and voice and stuff because they just didn't want to take lessons with this guy.
that's crazy. So he ended up getting booted.
He did.
Good. We don't need people like that. Um, are you still playing guitar at all? Like, do you still have a passion for that, or is that just like a maybe side hobby?
No, I mean, I still have my guitar. I sold my electric guitar during COVID because I just wasn't using it and I needed the
Sure.
money. I still have my classical guitar. Came in handy when I was in grad school because there were some of my classes where they were like, you had to accompany yourself on an instrument and like sing certain things for like your ear training. So that
Damn.
came in handy because my piano chops are trash.
Fair enough. Okay, so let's that's a crazy school story. You you graduated with your degree and what did you do after that? Where did that take you?
I was convinced that I wanted to do the gig life for a while.
Right, right, right.
So I graduated in 2014 in the fall semester, and at that point, I already had a job, part time in the mornings only, working at a law firm, and I was a file clerk, and it was a miserable job. The attorneys didn't trust me with anything. It was like go get our lunch, but not once was I offered anything. Make copies of this stuff, but you're not trusted to touch any kind of documentation that the clients will actually see. It's all just like archives. Like I had like these giant boxes of documents that I just had to deal with, and that was my job every day, 9 to 12. It was miserable. Um, but I was like, I'm making money. It's a whatever job. Like
Sure.
it's set hours, so it was whatever. And I was convinced I could do the gig thing, and I was trying to get my name out there. I was playing in a little duo with a guy I went to college with for a
Oh, cool.
while, and like things that never really took off. Um, and I was just so miserable at this job that I was like, maybe I should just get my teaching license. I was reluctant about it for a long time.
And what even directed you towards teaching?
I'm not sure really. I had done private lessons here and there, mostly with like little kids, which is so not my speed. But I don't know, growing up with both of my parents were teachers, they were always like, "Don't ever be a teacher, like this job
And you're
sucks."
like, you know what I should do? I think I should be a teacher.
Yeah, well, my dad, was teaching at Santa Fe High at the time, and he was like, "Well, we're looking for a part-time piano teacher," and I was like, "Oh, my piano skills kind of suck, but it's part-time, so it might not be a bad gig." So I went and I took all the classes, I took all the tests, I got my teaching certification, and I was 24, got a job teaching high school. I wasn't that much older than my kids.
That's wild. um, do your parents still play mariachi or do anything like that? How are they doing, by the way?
My dad is not in the best health right now.
Sorry to hear that.
He's still teaching at Santa Fe High, but I don't know how he
Wow.
does it. He's not in the best health right now. My mom still teaches as well. She still plays. She has like a little trio.
Oh, wow.
Um, I play with them every once in a while.
Nice.
It's not really my style. It's a lot of slow songs and
I don't like that either, man. I was one for the Sones, bro. That's my pick it up. Let's move it along.
yeah, seriously.
um, so you and I played together in Diferencia also, right?
Yeah,
Briefly.
yeah,
It wasn't that long because I dropped off. Well, I moved down here. Um, how long did you play with them?
about a year.
Oh, just a year.
Yeah,
Oh, you're like me. I think I played with them maybe 2 years, and I'll still, I'll pick up a gig if they're like. I was at work not long ago, and Lorenzo called me and said, "Hey, we're down here playing in Espanol. We don't have a guitarron player. You want to play?" And I was like, "Bro, I don't even get off work for like another hour." And he's like, "That's okay. Just come in when you're ready, when you get off." And I was like, "All right, fuck it."
okay, sure.
So on my way home, I just stopped and played a mariachi gig real quick.
Sweet.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool. I miss it, but I really honestly don't have the time to dedicate to that. And being that most of them are up from up north, I don't have the time to drive up there every day for practice and whatnot. So that kind of
Yeah.
kind of pushed me out the door a little bit. Um, all right, so let's talk about your I don't know, I don't wanna take it all the way back, but your childhood coming up in Santa Fe and the community and whatnot there. So you're from a Catholic background. Your
Mhm.
parents are obviously Catholic, hardcore Catholics.
Yes.
Um, and you're a gay man.
Yes.
When did you know? When were you, like, consciously aware that you were gay?
God, I always knew,
Did you? That's cool.
really. I guess it was never really a question. I just didn't really know what it was.
Oh, wow.
Like, I remember, I was homeschooled in kindergarten, so I didn't do a lot of socializing at that age. I started like in a traditional school, Catholic school when I was in first grade. And immediately it was like I felt differently about my male classmates than I did about my female classmates.
Oh, that's
But I didn't
interesting.
really understand what that meant. I used to tell my parents and my family that like I had a crush on a girl or whatever, but I
Oh,
don't
that
think I
must have been
really
so
knew
hard.
what that meant. You know what I mean? Like you don't really know what that means at that
Yeah.
age,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
definitely like I kind of always knew. It was when I was getting into you know um, fifth and sixth grade that I really started to like kind of understand more of what that meant.
Well, and let's call it what it was. Back then, it was not really socially acceptable.
Exactly.
So, what was that like for you in 5th and 6th grade specifically, to be around your peers? Like, were you still trying to, like, hide it and or did you actively seek out others like yourself?
Um, I kind of tried to hide it. I had a few close friends in fifth grade who like I felt a little more comfortable talking about things like that. I changed schools in fifth grade. Fifth and sixth grade were the only years of my entire career when I didn't go to Catholic school.
Oh,
I went
wow.
to a public school for
Oh,
fifth and
fuck, you were
sixth
in
grade.
Catholic school this whole time.
Yeah, I was in Catholic school from first grade through fourth grade. And
Damn.
then fifth and sixth, I went to a public school. And then seventh through 12th, I went to Catholic school again.
Holy shit, dude. That adds, like, a whole whole 'nother layer of complexity to the whole situation because
Yeah.
that's, like, out of all of the communities you could be in, that's the one that's, like, the least accepting of it.
Yeah, seriously. So, when I was in sixth grade, I had a good friend at the time. And I remember telling him, I didn't tell him that I was gay and I didn't tell him that I liked boys, but I told him that I felt differently about boys than I did about
Sure.
girls. And at that point, like I was a really nerdy kid, and so was this guy. We
Welcome
would,
to my world.
yeah, so was this guy. We would play Pokemon on the playground at recess, and
Yeah, buddy.
trading cards and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we neither of us were all that like into wanting to get into relationships and stuff like some of our classmates at that age were. So it was more like, I don't know, I feel differently about boys than I do about girls. And he was totally cool about it. And, I was sad that we lost touch going into seventh grade because, he stayed in the public school system and I went to St. Mike's.
Okay. But so at that age, you weren't actively seeking out a relationship or anything. You were just you knew that there was something different.
I did, and I remember, like, in 6th grade, we had a new kid, transfer into our class, like, he changed schools, and, God, I had a crush on this kid, and I, like, didn't realize it at the time, but, like, looking back on it now, I'm like, "Man, I totally had a thing for this guy." Because weird full circle moment, I was taking a summer trig class at the community college. I was, like, 19, and this guy ended up being in my class.
Oh,
And,
wow.
like, he remembered me, and I was like, "Damn, this guy's hot now."
That's funny. Um, it's a really weird thing, sexuality and preference. Like, I can't say that a gayness had ever crossed my mind, but I remember several times through my life that there was guys that I was just, like, absolutely attracted to, maybe not sexually, but, like, I need to be around this dude, like, all the time. This dude's cool as fuck, like,
Yeah.
so it's that I think that in itself can be confusing for somebody younger who doesn't know the difference between sexual attraction versus platonic attraction, which is wild. And, so did you have that distinction or it was just different and I don't feel the same way about this group than that group?
When I was younger, it was more just it felt different. But, growing up in the '90s, especially in, like, mostly Catholic environments, nobody talked about that stuff, you
Oh, at
know?
all. Oh, that's so taboo.
And like, we all knew gay people, like older gay people, and I'm sure you had a similar experience, like even in your
I did.
family, and people would just be like, "Oh, your uncle and his friend live together," but like nobody talked about it. You know what I
Hold on,
mean?
hold on. That's so funny that you say that because Sarah had a coworker whose brother, like, okay, they're Christian family, and they're a really close family. Well, her brother and his roommate have lived together for fucking like 10 years, dude, and they are so in denial of it. That's what it really is. But anybody on the outside can see, like, yeah, that's a gay couple. They live
Yeah.
together. So what? Like, deal with it. But I think that they're just so like stuck on their morals that's not a thing. He's not gay. They're just friends.
Yeah, and it's a very generational thing. I had an uncle, great uncle, I guess. He was my grandma's brother. Um, he was gay and everybody knew it. He passed recently and I never really knew him. We never really had a relationship. But he lived with his male partner for like 40 years and nobody talked about it.
They're roommates. Stop, okay?
Yeah, exactly. And like, everybody would just refer to his partner by his first name. It was never his partner, it was never anybody. It was just like, "Oh, he lives with Chris."
God, I
And that
wonder
was
what that
it.
does to their psyche. Like that must feel challenging at very least. It must be like a super downer, like wanting everybody to respect and appreciate what you have, but you can't, like, you're so concerned with the fact that everybody's gonna shit on it or whatever that you don't say anything. Like that's gotta weigh a lot on a relationship.
Yeah, I'm sure. And, generational thing for sure, especially, Hispanic people don't really talk about things like that.
Still,
Still.
like, and the Catholic and the Hispanic community, that's still a thing where it's very taboo. We don't talk about that. That's not real. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of it. Tell me about when you came out to your parents and when everybody finally you had that. Was it like a freedom? Like, tell me about that experience.
No, it backfired on me really hard. I was a freshman in high school and
Oh, you did it young,
yeah,
bro. That
yeah.
takes guts. Bravo for you.
I was a freshman in high school. There was a new kid who came to our school and God, I had a crush on this kid so hard. Like all through high school, had a crush on this kid so hard. And I made the mistake of telling one of my friends that I liked this guy, and they told him, and it was like instant rejection. Like, that's disgusting. I never want to see this person ever again. Like, I can't believe you would tell me that. And, I was already dealing with a lot of like emotional, like mental health issues at the time. And, I attempted suicide.
Oh fuck, dude.
And that's kind of how it all came out.
Hold
I
on.
was
This
actually, it
That was ninth grade.
was ninth grade. Yeah.
Fuck, dude. And how did, not to like, I don't want to glorify it, but what did you do in an attempt for suicide?
Uh, Not
Well,
comfortable talking about
okay,
that, but
no problem. Tell me about what led you. How was the build up to that point? In, mentally? I want to know if you're comfortable. Again, please don't feel pressured. But if you're comfortable, what was the build up and the final straw that was like, fuck, dude, I can't take this anymore.
I think it was my sexuality mostly.
That's so awful.
You
Should
know,
never
I
be like that.
I was bullied a lot in elementary school and then in junior high for, people would tell me I was gay before I even knew what gay meant. And I was bullied a lot in school because, I was fat, I was nerdy, I had glasses, like I was, a little bit more feminine than most of my classmates. I didn't play sports or anything, I had asthma, I was that kid. And the final straw was like with this kid in ninth grade when my friends told him, and he was like, "That's disgusting. I don't ever want to see this guy again." Like that was it.
Fuck, dude. I'm so sorry that you went through that. That fucking is awful. That's heartbreaking. And the shitty part is like, kids are fucking evil because I mean everybody's gone through a bullying, everybody's gone through teasing. Nobody enjoys it, but you desperately just want to fit in. You just want to have friends. And I feel like people bullying is a way of them projecting their insecurities on you, but being that young, you don't know what that even means. You can't grasp that concept that, hey, they're probably going through some shit, so they're trying to make me feel bad about my shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll just say from my point of view, when I called my friends gay when we were younger, I didn't know what gay meant, and it just was like a playful insult. It was never meant to be. And I'll tell you, in my psyche, still this day, like my little brother's gay. I love him to pieces. I have several gay friends. I have no discrimination against gay people, but I will still use that term as a playful teasing sort of thing, and it'll never change in my head. So in reality, I don't even associate the word gay or fag or any of those really shitty words
Hmm.
with homosexuality. Those are two completely different things in my mind, which is
Yeah.
so weird because it puts me in a position where like I want to say that to people, but I know that it's offensive to other people, and I don't want to be offensive to other people. So it's like it's a really weird thing. So tell me now, how do your parents found out and all that? Like after your incident?
So I'm at the hospital and they're
Oh
doing a
fuck.
full, psych eval and the whole thing. And sitting in a room with a therapist. And they're like, well, is there anything you want to tell your parents? And that's where it all came out.
Damn. So they didn't even do anything to help you. They're just like, hey, we got your parents here. Go
Yeah,
at it.
exactly.
Fuck.
And it all escalated from there. To this day, I still don't know if it was the whole "I'm gay" thing that was so hard for my parents, or if it was the mental health stuff, or just the fact that it all came together at the same time. That's like a lot to deal with. I still don't know if that was all, but my whole life changed at that point, and it was never the same. Um, Life at home got really challenging because my
Really?
parents were like, "I can't believe you would do this. Like, you're never gonna have children. You're never gonna have a normal life." And my mom would cry like every single day, and she
Jesus,
couldn't even be
dude.
in the same room as me. Like, I remember just like being locked in my room all the time, and like my parents wouldn't even tell me that dinner was ready. Like, I wasn't invited to come and eat at the dinner table. Like,
Oh my god, dude. I didn't even judging from the person you are and the character that you hold, I would never have thought that you would experience something like that. And who your parents are, I would have never thought they would listen, man. I would have put money down, hands to nothing, that they would have gone for the denial avenue prior, well before you know chastising you.
yeah, and I remember specific comments still that will just sit with me forever. With my parents telling
Fuck,
me, you're gonna get AIDS and die.
fuck,
And I was
dude.
like, and that was their generation. That
Yes,
was,
yes.
growing up in the 70s and 80s, and that's what it was.
That sucks, man. Now, did you have anybody in your corner that you could like any kind of confidant, anybody who you could talk to, or was it like just solo isolation at that point?
I remember my brother did not take it well either.
Fuck.
He grabbed me from behind one day and held a knife to my throat and was like, "You gotta cut out all this gay shit, or I'm gonna kill you."
What the fuck,
And that
dude?
was, that was my home life for a while. It was rough.
God damn, dude. Well, how long did that last before it finally started to tone down?
God, I don't know. I remember my parents taking me to some kind of a mental facility in Albuquerque. I don't remember a lot of the details because I was just, I was in a brain fog for like years after all that stuff.
Damn,
And
Gabe.
there's a lot of my teenage years that are just like a fog that I don't really remember. Um, but they took me to this facility where they wanted me to stay for like long-term mental health care. And we were at the final step of like, here's the paperwork. All we need is a signature, and he'll stay here for like months. Get your
Wow.
schooling here, get your education here, but you're gonna live at this facility
Bro, that is
for
so
long-term
terrible.
mental health care. And I don't know how, but I convinced my parents like I need to just go home. Like I want to just go home. I don't want to be here. And my life didn't get any easier at that point, but I was able to stay at the same school. I was able to stay living at home. um, my parents got super, super strict with me after that point. They took away my cell phone until I was a senior in high school. I had no
Holy
cell phone at
shit.
all until I was a senior in high school. Um, I didn't have a door on my bedroom. They took the door off my bedroom. I wasn't allowed to hang out with friends. just things got super, super strict at that point, and my parents doubled down on like I had to go to confirmation classes, and I had to go to church on a regular basis, and they wanted me to pray about it. I remember my parents took me on what they called a mission trip. My freshman year in high school, they took me to Mexico City for the feast day of the Virgen de Guadalupe. To go to the basilica and go see, and where they're singing songs and all that stuff. And they're like, she's gonna help you.
Help you with what? There's nothing wrong with, dude. That is so awful. I hate the Catholic, and no offense to any Catholics out there, but just don't be this. Like, don't be that person who your solution to mental health or somebody telling you that they're gay is to try and throw therapy at them, stick them in a mental institution, tell them to go to church, because all you're going to do is push them further away as a person. Like, nobody wants to be around those people who are just so judgmental and so like, this is not who you are. You need to change because, bro, you're a cool fucking dude. Like, I never your sexuality or preference never came into play as a friend because you were fucking cool. You're always cool. Since we met you, you were cool. And it's I'm glad that you did not succeed in your suicide attempt because the world would have missed a good person. You're a good fucking dude, and I'm glad to have you around.
Thanks, man.
Of course,
And it's gotten better in my adult life, and I'm glad I stuck it out because now it's like not even a factor anymore.
I
Like
love that.
I meet people and nobody fucking cares. You know what I
Nobody,
mean? Like it's cool.
well, again, generational. Our generation seems to not give a shit, and I
Yeah,
love that.
yeah.
Um, Now, have your parents come around to this? Are they still kind of on the shelf about it, or
They went into full on denial for a long time.
yeah,
All throughout my high school life, it was like if we don't talk about it, it's not true.
sure,
You know,
it doesn't exist,
and I wasn't allowed to go to prom or homecoming or anything like that because they thought I was gonna go meet some guy.
dude.
And
You're
I
like,
was
how the
like,
fuck am I gonna go meet a guy when I've been in the house for 6 years?
seriously. Um, I remember when I started dating my first boyfriend, and we only dated for a month, so it's whatever. When my parents found out about it, I remember getting home from like spending time with him, and my mom, she met me in the kitchen, and she told me, "Oh, did you have fun with that queer getting fucked in the ass?"
Oh my
And
god.
she slapped me like
Oh my god, dude.
I
I
was
could,
21 at this point.
dude. I could never picture those words coming out of your mom's mouth, dude. That 21. That was after I met you.
Yeah, yeah.
Holy fuck. Bro, I am so sorry. Like, fuck, I want to go back to the 18-year-old you and tell you to come live with me so you don't have to deal with that shit.
Yeah, at that point, I just kind of stopped dating or talking to anybody, and
Fuck.
I was just all focused on school and trying to get out of my parents' house
Of
and
course.
have some sense of freedom. Um, then when I was 26, I had already been living on my own for a couple years. I was already a teacher. Um, I met my current partner, and I told my parents about it, and they cut contact with me for about 6 months. Like I
Holy
heard
shit,
nothing
dude.
from them for about 6 months, like no contact at all whatsoever. And finally, they like reached out and started kind of chilling out about it a little bit, and they were like, "Well, we want to meet this guy."
Well, fuck, that's good. That's a step in the right direction.
And God, I was so nervous about it.
Well, I
And
bet.
they finally met him, and it was probably the most awkward thing in my life. But we've been together about 6 years now, and
Oh.
we're engaged, and
Congratulations. That's
you
amazing.
know, and I wouldn't say it's normal, but like things are better. Mhm.
But it's getting there,
Yeah, mhm.
and they're accepting of it.
Yeah,
Well, the fact that they were willing to meet him in a pleasant context is
yeah.
a huge
Seriously,
step.
seriously.
Did you have similar reactions to the community? Like, um, I don't know, maybe their friends, the church. Like, was it all over the place as far as that, or like, I just want to know, like, did you feel singled out still by not only your parents but the rest of the community as well, or was it just something that was happening in your home?
I did. I was really angry at the church for a long time.
I understand.
I was really angry at God for a long time. Why did you make me like this?
Oh, that's fucked.
Why does it have to be me? Why couldn't it be someone else?
Bro, that's heartbreaking.
And it drove a wedge between me and the church for sure. Going to Catholic school every single year of my life except for fifth and sixth grade, it drove a real wedge between me and any sort of religion or
You are not alone in that,
spirituality.
dude. I have not been religious since I was a kid because of the amount of fucking church that they were shoving down our throats and shit. And I'm sorry to throw this off the rails, but as coming up, um, I didn't really buy into the whole church theory, the whole, God theory and whatnot. But I kind of was like, maybe just for security's sake, I'm gonna have a personal relationship with God and just, pretend there's somebody there and we're gonna be, that way if something happens and I was wrong, then I don't go to hell.
Hmm.
And then I met Sarah and she was totally polar opposite. And she's like, that shit's not real. Show me some proof somewhere that it's real.
Yeah.
And you tell that to a religious person, they go right to the Bible. Oh, the Bible this and the Bible
Yeah.
that. Okay,
Exactly.
but I've never seen this person, nor any evidence of this person, or that it's even a person. Like maybe Jesus was a real person, but that doesn't speak anything to the presence of this omnipowerful being. And so, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, yeah, this is some bullshit. Like,
Yeah.
people are dedicating their entire lives and their behavior to somebody who may or may not exist. That's bullshit. So I just completely said, nah, fuck it. Religion's dumb. I don't believe in anything of it. I don't subscribe to any. And if I do, the closest thing I would attribute it to is maybe Buddhism, because those guys are just karma. And I love
Yeah.
karma. I love the
Yeah.
idea of karma. You get in what you put out. And so I try to do that myself. Um, are you still Catholic?
Absolutely not. Mhm.
Are you religious?
No.
Good man.
No.
I can respect it.
Yeah, I was super angry at the church for a long time, and throughout high school, I was one of those like anti-religion, like nobody should be religious. Religious is evil. Religious is harmful.
Rightfully so.
I was angry. I was actively angry, and the
But
older I've gotten, the more I'm like, everybody's allowed to believe whatever they want to believe as
sure.
long as you're not hurting other
I
people.
agree. I agree. And no, you had every fucking right to be angry. So, dude, the shit you went through is fucking horrible. Nobody should go through that shit, especially from family. That's wild. So you said okay. So let's bring it up to at current time. You are sort of on good terms with your parents. There's a little more acceptance there. You have a good relationship with your partner. You said you're not speaking to your brother anymore,
Hmm.
by his choice.
Yes.
Is he still not accepting of it? Is that part of it, or
Um, I was part of his life for a while after he moved here to Rio Rancho, and got married. He has two kids now, and um, I was part of his life for a while. But the more I thought about it, the more it was one of those relationships where, like, if I wasn't inviting myself, I wasn't invited.
haha,
You know what
that's
I mean?
wild. Yes, I
Like, do you ever
do.
have those friendships where you're like, if I don't text you first, I'll never hear from you?
Gabe, I have several of those, and I have that with one of my brothers, and it's an awful feeling.
Yeah. So I
So,
was in grad school working full time, like just exhausted, burned out on every end of everything. And I wasn't making the effort to reach out anymore. And all of a sudden, I just stopped hearing from anybody. And all kind of culminating in, my mom and I had bought Christmas presents for their family, and we were driving down. It was actually on New Year's Eve.
okay.
A couple years ago, we were driving down to go visit them and take the presents, go see the kids, all that stuff. And I got run off the highway by a semi
Oh fuck.
in my brand new car, man. I had only had my car for like 6 months.
Which one was it?
I had a blue BMW 3 Series.
Fuck.
Brand new, man, brand new. It was a custom order and everything. It was so
Fuck.
nice. Um, and I had literally just gotten on the highway coming from Santa Fe to Rio Rancho and got clipped on the side by a semi, spun out into
Dude.
the median. Car was totaled.
Fuck.
And I remember calling my brother right after the accident and being like, I don't think we're going to make it up there. Like, we just got in an accident. And his reaction was, oh, okay. I guess we'll do it some other time. And I never heard anything from him ever again.
That's not
I was just
appropriate.
in this traumatic car
The
accident. Like,
first
you didn't even
response,
care.
right? The first response should have been, "Are you okay?"
Yeah. And him and his wife go down to Santa Fe on a regular basis because her dad lives in Santa Fe. Not once was there ever like a, "Hey, we're in Santa Fe, let's meet up," or nothing. So I was
I,
like, "You know
dude,
what? We're good here." Mhm.
that is identical with the brother that I'm speaking about. It's fucking identical. For like 2 years straight, he was bringing his family down to Albuquerque and driving practically past my house. I mean, maybe 5 minutes out of the way, but driving past my house, for a year, and didn't fucking once tell me that he was coming down or say, "Hey, do you want to get together?" or anything like that. It's that is a wild concept.
Yeah,
Um, does it bother you to not be a part of their lives? Like, do you feel like you're missing out with your nieces, nephews,
niece and nephew.
niece and nephew?
I mean, it did for a while. At this point, I'm like,
Over it.
I have my moments of like, man, I don't really have any family, and like this sucks. But it's cool. It's
So,
whatever.
okay, I would like to speak on that for a moment. Um, that feeling of I don't have any family. I feel in modern times, and this is just my opinion. Nobody has to subscribe to this or even like it for that matter. But the way I feel is you create your family. Your family is the people who are around you. It does not have to be blood. We're not from that generation where blood is thicker than water. We're not that. We have changed the world, our generation specifically. And Sarah and I personally subscribe to the fact that like if these people want to be part of your lives, that's who your family is. It's the people who want to be close to you, the people who are always around, the people who appreciate you for who you are and what you are. That's your family. Just because you're related to somebody doesn't mean they're family.
Yeah,
And I feel that like deep in my bones. Like there's so many people, that there is relation family that come in and out of my life, and that's fine. If they want to be a part of it, they can. If they don't have to be. It's not going to bother me. But I have a lot of people that I've met or have been friends with over time that are closer than family. Like these people, these are the ones that I would rely on. These are the people that would be my first calls if anything went down, things like that.
yeah, yeah. Same.
So, now that you are getting married, you're creating a new family. This is going to be your relation family, and everybody else will just be on the outside and they can come and go, but you have a solid base now.
Yeah,
And it seems like you're happy with him. You
yeah,
guys
yeah,
seem to have a good relationship and whatnot. You've been together forever, so
yeah.
that's good. I love that.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool. The one weird thing is like it kind of came of this too is my brother's son got diagnosed with autism
Okay.
when he was maybe like 3 years old, maybe four, a little older. They were worried about like some of his social habits and stuff like that, so they got him tested. And I recently got diagnosed with being on the spectrum as well, and so I'm like, okay, like, it kinda came about that way of like, well, maybe because it's all genetics, like, autism is completely genetic, so I was like, kinda curious, and, I've been seeing a therapist forever for obvious reasons, and, I kinda asked her about it. I was like, "My nephew got diagnosed with autism, and, I've always had a really hard time with other people and social anxiety and stuff like this, and
Yeah,
so
yeah,
we
yeah.
we got me tested, and yeah."
So, I now, do you think that you're going to be maybe a resource for your nephew when he gets a little bit older and can make his own free choice of who he speaks to and doesn't? Like, do you think how do you think your brother's going to handle his upcoming?
I would like to be that, but knowing my brother and looking back on our childhood, like guaranteed he's on the spectrum as well, probably more than me because
No shit.
it's layers, it's levels, different levels of being on the spectrum, and I'm pretty low on the spectrum. It's more like I just really struggle in social situations and being in large groups of people. But my brother was definitely on the spectrum. Looking back on our childhood, I'm like, oh yeah,
That's wild.
absolutely.
My little brother was diagnosed also, and my stepdad. Oh, so my mom tells me I don't know anything about the diagnosis, but she said both of them are mild Asperger's. And if you ask my wife, I'm fucking all over the spectrum because of all my nerd shit. So her friends, this legit happened. So she was at work telling her friends about what a fucking airplane nerd I am and like all my like weird quirks and shit. And they're like, oh, is he on the spectrum? I'm like, I guess I fucking am because it explains a lot.
Yeah, it might be. You never know.
But to be fair, I have not been diagnosed. I'm not claiming to be autistic or anything, but I could be. Who knows? Um, so let's talk about your teaching journey. And thank you for being so vulnerable and open about all that stuff.
Yeah, totally.
That's a wild story, dude. Now tell me about your teaching journey. So you decided one day you're going to be a teacher, which
Yeah.
you advised yourself not to do, and your parents advised you not to do. Um, what was the transition into teaching like?
Man, it has been a wild ride, let me tell you.
You're pretty accomplished already as a teacher, and you're still a fucking young man. So
Yeah,
let's talk about that.
it's been a wild ride, dude. Teaching is just as crazy as you think it would be. It
Yeah,
really is on a
yeah, I
daily
bet.
basis. Love my kids to death.
Cool.
There's a lot of aspects of the job that I don't like, and that's the shit that makes me like not want to go to work in the
Is
morning.
that like the political side of it and whatnot?
Yeah, and administration
Sure,
and all the
sure, sure.
leaders who don't know what the hell they're talking about,
Fair enough.
Um, it's been a wild journey. I started out my first year. I was only maybe 6 years older than my seniors, um, which was it was really weird.
Listen, man, when I was in school, if our teacher was only 6 years older than us, I'd be like, bro, what the fuck are you going to teach me? Like, I was at your house the other day. Like,
Yeah,
I'll teach you.
yeah, it was really weird. And I started out as a part-time piano teacher, and my classes were like teeny tiny. I had one class of like 20 something kids, but
Damn.
it being an elective and kids choosing it, I had my advanced class had one student in it,
Oh shit.
and she was cool as hell, but she was probably a better piano player than I
I was
was, dude.
gonna
I was
say,
terrible.
based on what you were saying, she was probably better than you. That's
I
wild.
had a couple students who were better than me, but I found ways to like teach them and get them what they needed. But I
That's
was a
cool.
horrible piano player. But the kids were cool. The trip was like halfway through that school year. It was literally like a week after we had open house, which was in like September. The guitar teacher died.
Oh
Like
fuck,
he had a massive heart attack. He was like in his 50s and he died.
that sucks.
And they were like, "We need a guitar teacher. Like, we can't cancel these classes. There's already kids in these classes." And they're like, "Hey, you're part time. Hey, you play guitar. Why don't you take the guitar classes?" And I was like excited at the prospect of like, okay, I'll be a full time teacher now and like teaching an instrument that I like actually play. Like,
Right,
okay,
right.
cool. It was rough, man. For several reasons. The kids had all kinds of trauma because their teacher had just died. I mean, what?
Did he die at school or something,
No,
or
but
it was
it
just that
it's
that
just
aspect?
yeah, it's just that aspect of like, oh my god, my teacher just died. Like,
When I was in junior high, our librarian died, and then our we had a substitute who was coming in and out, and he actually the year before he passed away, he got teacher of the year. And then the next year they found him murdered.
damn,
Yeah, fucking wild, dude. We could talk more about that later, but
that's
it's fucking
crazy.
wild, dude. Okay.
Yeah, so I took over this guy's classes. They made my schedule work. I ended up picking up two beginning guitar classes and an advanced guitar class.
This is at Santa Fe High, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was teaching out of two different classrooms in two completely different buildings because we had a piano lab where I was teaching, keyboarding, and then we had the guitar room where I was teaching guitar. And so like I was traveling back and forth between two different buildings, two different rooms, and that sucked. I hated that. And you know the stigma of like guitar classes, like it's a bunch of screw up kids who don't really want to take anything else and don't really want to take it
That's
seriously, you know what I
exactly why
mean?
I took guitar class.
Exactly.
I mean, I wasn't a screw up. I actually wanted to learn, but upon arrival, I don't. Do you know Mr. Lucero? Ben
No,
Lucero?
no.
Yeah, he could have cared less about the guitar class. He was totally on a mariachi high, and he was like, "Oh yeah, let me teach you lowrider from War, and then I'll teach you like just some basic shit." And he's like, "All right, now teach each other."
Yeah.
And that was guitar class. So
And that's how the old teacher used to run it. But me being a first year teacher who really wanted to teach orchestra, that's what I wanted to do because I was a violinist. Um, I ran it like an orchestra class.
wow,
We rehearsed, we learned repertoire as a group, we learned music theory, we learned how to read sheet music, and we had regular concerts. And it was rough because those kids fought me every step of the way.
now hold on. So I guess you being in charge of the curriculum. You were picking the songs, and did
Yeah.
you give any kind of leeway or any freedom to the kids to pick?
No.
You're fuck you kids.
No, no,
I
not
went
at
and
all.
got
I
my
was like, hell
degree.
no, you're doing this my way, and that's it.
Okay.
And it was horrible, man. That year made me regret all of my career choices. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. This job sucks. Like I can't do this anymore. It was horrible. I survived, and I got real close to the kids by the end of the year,
Oh, that's
and they
cool.
liked me by the end of the year, but it was for sure a lot of resistance for a long
Well, I
time.
feel like there's a break-in period for every teacher. No kid is gonna walk into a class with full trust and care for their teacher, but over time you gap that bridge, and I've come around to some of my worst teachers and still hold them dear to this day. So,
And be like, that's why you were such an asshole.
oh, I was an asshole. Okay, I get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So that year was rough, but like towards the end of the year, I had built a good relationship with the current orchestra teacher at the time, and he had been applying for other jobs because he just wanted to get out of New Mexico.
Okay,
And so he was leaving at the end of the year, and he put in a good word for me. He's like, if you want this orchestra program, it's yours. He's like, that's your instrument. That's what you should really be teaching, something that's your expertise. And I already like knew the kids. I had already kind of gotten to know some of the orchestra kids through like just being at the same school and
sure,
getting to work with some of them a little bit. They had asked me to sit in with them on a couple concerts because they needed
cool,
like another violinist or whatever.
nice.
So I kind of knew the kids, and the orchestra teacher was like, if you want this program, it's yours.
Now, real quick, doesn't going into an orchestra from guitar seem like a bit overwhelming? Like, there's a shitload of instruments, and there's a whole lot more to it. Like, doesn't that seem like, oh my god, what am I getting myself into?
And let me tell you, my first couple years as an orchestra teacher were absolute trash, man,
Yeah,
because all I knew was violin.
right.
I didn't know viola, and the viola reads in a different clef too. So I didn't know viola super well. I made a lot of mistakes. I knew hardly anything about cello and especially bass, dude. I didn't know shit about bass. That was a whole different world for me. And I remember taking a couple of cello lessons because I didn't even know how to hold the instrument. It was
Oh
like
fuck.
foreign to me. I had no clue because a lot of these people who come straight out of college and become orchestra teachers either played growing up, like played in an orchestra, so they got to see all the other stuff,
Okay.
or they took what we call methods classes in college where you have to like learn all of the different instruments. But I didn't do that because I wasn't a music education major. I was just a music major. So I
Fair
didn't take
enough.
any of those classes. So I was like, dude, I don't even know what a cello is. I don't
So
know how to
you
play this thing. Like, not a clue.
you had to go educate yourself to be able to educate them.
I did, and my first couple years were shit, man. Because all of my non-violin students were like, "You don't even know what you're talking about."
You're like, yeah, yeah, you're right. I
Because they'd be
don't.
like, "What fingering would you use for this high part on the cello?" And I was like, "Dude, I have no idea."
I'll be like,
Like,
I have a couple preferences. What would you use?
and they would call me out on shit in class. They'd be like, "No, that's not right. You don't know what you're talking about." And I was like, "No,
That's
I really
wild.
don't. Like, I
You'd be
don't
like,
know these instruments at all. I don't know what I'm
well, why
talking
don't you get
about."
up here and teach the class then?
And so sometimes I would kind of leave it to the kids and be like, "Well, you know more about this than I do. Why don't you, go do a sectional with the cellos and
Wow, that's
teach them
cool.
something?" And after a while, the respect got better, and now I know my craft. Like now, I can like actually sit down with a cello or a bass and like play kind of harder stuff and figure out
Wow.
fingering. So I've learned a lot about that.
So you're still orchestra.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Now tell me about your accomplishments in the orchestra program. So tell me after year two, how did the improvements go and where did that lead you?
It's been a lot. When I took over the program at Santa Fe High, it was pretty small. It was three different classes of orchestra, but nothing was ability based. It was just like, oh, you play an orchestra instrument, you're in one of these classes. It's kind of like just jumbled, whatever. The old orchestra teacher used to just combine all three classes into one big orchestra for concerts. Um, and I started separating that a lot more, putting it more ability based. Like, let's have three completely distinct ability based classes. Like, let's have a beginner class for kids who want to learn or for kids who need like the extra support. Let's have an intermediate group for like kids who can kind of play, but they're not at that level yet. And then let's have like a high school group, kids who know how to play, kids who know how to read, kids who can just play some harder repertoire. And I separated them into three different classes, and built the program up that way. I started doing more recruiting, getting to know more of the like other middle school teachers, trying to get more kids into the program. And the program has never gotten all that big. I think at the most our enrollment was about 60 students. Right now we're right around 50. I've got one class of 32, I've got one class of 13, and then I have a really small beginner group. Um, and eventually I wanted to split that more because I had kids who were coming into high school who were like really good musicians. And they were bored and frustrated being in a class with kids who weren't there yet. So I proposed to the school to offer a chamber orchestra. And at that time, the idea was like a small class of kids who were really good at their instruments. And I was like shocked as hell that the school approved it. This
Wow.
was, well before COVID. So like they weren't worried about budgets as much as they are now. So they were like, yeah, you can have like a small class of like elite kids as long as you have enough enrollment in your other classes, which I did. So for a while there, I had four classes.
Damn.
I had a total beginner class, like you've never played an instrument in your life. I had like intermediate, you've played a little bit, not that great yet. I had like an advanced class, and then I had the chamber orchestra, which were like my elite kids. And when I decided to go back and get my master's degree, I decided I wanted to do it on campus. Like I didn't want to do an online program. So I started at UNM
Cool.
in an on-campus program, and my principal at the time was like super supportive and combined two of my classes, but they were still paying me for teaching four classes because essentially I was. It was just two of the classes got combined in the same class
Oh,
period.
wow, that's cool.
And she was super supportive of that. And, after about a week of going to on campus school, I was like, dude, this sucks. I can't do this. I can't be teaching four classes and commuting to Albuquerque doing grad school full time. Like I couldn't do
That's
it. It was
rough.
too much. So I switched to an online program, and you know, was still one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. But they kept the format of like me having only three classes. And at some point, the music coordinator was like, "We really need a teacher to take over this middle school program down the road, at Milagro Middle School."
Which used to be DeVargas,
Used
right?
to be DeVargas,
I'm
yeah.
so sad about that.
And so I was like, I was a little reluctant to take the position because I knew it was going to mess with the structure of things at Santa Fe High, but I knew that they needed a good teacher. So I took the job. It was two classes, not ability based. It was just there's a seventh grade orchestra, there's an eighth grade orchestra, and I kept my three classes at Santa Fe High.
Damn, dude.
And I did that for a year and a half. I never thought I would ever leave a teaching job in the middle of the school year, but the level of disrespect that I got at the middle school, not from the kids, kids were cool,
Oh,
from
wow.
administration.
No shit. Yeah, how so?
When I was working there, they didn't let students choose their electives. Nobody could choose their electives. They got
What do you mean?
assigned. So kids got
Shut the
randomly
fuck up.
assigned electives.
I would fucking hate that so
Yeah, so
much.
why do you think there were so many behavior problems in these classes, right? The kids aren't somewhere where they want to be. And
It's called
I
an elective, not like a fucking I'm gonna assign you this, like an assigned. That's what assignment.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that doesn't make any sense.
And I got buy-in, and my kids sounded good. They played their instruments well. They sounded good, and a lot of kids would tell me that they liked my class. They're like, "You're cool. You treat us like people and not like prisoners." Because a lot of the school, was the more I was there, the more I saw like they treated those kids like prisoners. Like they would just be standing out in the hallway yelling at them constantly.
What the fuck?
The assistant principal would just berate the heck out of these kids and just like tell them, you're all gonna accomplish nothing in life. You're all worthless. You're all just a bunch of little criminals. And like the way they would talk to and treat these kids, I was like, God, this is horrible. Like
Listen, man, if you hate kids, don't be a teacher.
seriously.
What
and
the
and
fuck?
and kids were getting suspended for the stupidest shit. Like a kid in my class got suspended for wearing a hood inside the building. Like he had his hood up in the building. I'm like,
Wow.
that's like a dress code violation. That's a detention, whatever. But like suspension because you were wearing your hood in the building, like, dude, grow up. Like, come on, that's
Bro,
ridiculous.
I got suspended at DeVargas in junior high because my friend drew a stick figure with boobs and passed it to me.
That's wild, man.
Yeah, dude. They called it pornography.
Oh.
I was like, bitch, this is a stick figure with two circles. I didn't even draw it. I'm not that good. That's crazy. So some things have never changed. That's crazy though. That seems like next level shit. That's some shit that you would see on God, I can't remember that movie where that I think it's Denzel is teaching in South Central LA or something. I don't remember the movie, but fuck man, that's wild.
And the kids had their problems. Like they were kind of rough kids, but they got along with me and I got along with the kids and they were cool. And they would do what I asked them to do. And I really didn't have behavior problems other than them just being annoying middle schoolers. Um, and the kids sounded good. The kids were learning a lot. They were doing awesome. But you know, going into my second year there, I didn't even want to return to the school, but my boss literally told me, "You don't have a choice. You either take this full gig along with Santa Fe High, or you don't have a job at all."
Oh
And I
God.
didn't want to leave Santa Fe High. I was like, "No, I love it there. I don't want to leave that school." So there I was going into my second year there, like, shit, I really don't want to be here, but okay, I'll make it work. Um, and I asked them if I could have some of my seventh graders from the year before in my eighth grade class, and they said no. And I'm like, but they've already taken a year of orchestra, like they'd be advanced now. Like we could have an advanced class. And they're like, no. They just gave me some random mix of eighth graders who had never played an instrument before.
Oh God.
And my seventh grade class, I started out the year with 30 kids on my roster. And like, they kept taking kids out of class with no explanation, no like asking me, no asking the kids. Like, one day to the next, there'd be two less kids in class, one less kid in class, two less kids in class. By the time we were going into Christmas break, I had about 12 kids in the
Holy
class,
shit.
and two kids in particular were like a massive behavior problem. I was taking these kids to the office every single day for just like being disruptive, not participating, damaging instruments, shit like that.
Oh
And
fuck.
administration didn't care. And I asked them if they could just remove that kid from my class because, you know, it, we weren't learning anything because this kid was such a distraction. And they said if we remove this kid from your class, you're going to be under the cap that the school district allows for a class to be considered a class, and we
Holy
would have to
shit.
cancel the class altogether. And so I was like, okay, whatever. Just kept dealing with it. We scheduled a parent teacher conference for this kid because he was a problem in all of his classes.
Okay.
And, being at Santa Fe High as well, I told them I can't be present in person for this conference, but I want to be there to give my input. Can you guys send me like a Google Meet link so I could join digitally and like just listen and talk to the parents? They said, sure. So I signed on at that time, and there's nobody in the online meeting. And I'm emailing this kid's case manager and like the people who put the meeting together, and they said we're meeting in person. And I said I know you're meeting in person, but I said I couldn't be there in person, so I requested a link. And they said, well, we're not online. Is there anything you would like to share with the parents? And I'm like, I wanted to be at the conference, and like nobody cared. Like it was just like all those levels of disrespect that I dealt with at that school.
Sure.
And then coming back from Christmas break, it was literally the day we got back from Christmas break. I checked my roster online and I was down to 7 kids in that class.
Holy shit.
And two of those kids were the ones I had asked them to remove. So I was really down to 5 kids, with two of them being like little assholes who had no desire to be in that class. And it was literally that day that I put in my resignation. I was like, I'm out. I'm out. I don't want to do this.
Dude, that's fucking nuts. So how did that go? Like, are you still at Santa Fe High?
Still at Santa Fe High. Unfortunately, they did reduce how full time I am. We call it our FTE, your full time employment status. They did reduce my FTE because they had to, so that I could teach at the middle school as well. And every time I've asked if they could bring it back up, they're like, no, we already made special accommodations for you.
So wait, you're still at the middle school also?
No,
Oh, okay.
no,
I
but I
see.
used to be at Santa Fe High, what we would call a point eight, so like 80% full time,
Okay.
and they had to reduce it to point six because I was getting point four from the middle school. So now I'm just point six, and every time I've asked them if they could raise that back up, they're like, "No, we already made special accommodations for you. We're not going to do this for you." So,
Damn. So what does your future with teaching look like,
um,
particularly at Santa Fe High?
I'm a point 0.6 at Santa Fe High. Point 0.2 of my FTE is what we call instructional coach. So I'm the orchestra instructional coach for the school district. What that basically is I have a set amount of hours per week to visit other orchestra teachers' classes throughout the district and work with them, give them feedback, and also create like instructional materials and like resources to share with the orchestra team.
Wow.
So it's a leadership role, and then that's point 0.2 of my FTE. So I'm a point 0.8 with Santa Fe Public Schools,
Okay.
but I'm also teaching one class at St. Mike's.
Okay. Dude, that sounds like a huge fucking workload.
It is.
How do you manage?
It's wild, man. I've also got about 12 private students that I
Oh, what
teach
the fuck?
because I run a little violin studio where, I just do lessons on the side. A lot of my private students are also my kids in school.
Oh, okay.
But I have a couple adult students too who are, super cool to work with. But
Dude, how the fuck do you have a life outside of teaching?
no, I don't.
That's fucking nuts.
My average work day is, 7:30 a.m. to about 7:30, sometimes 8 o'clock p.m. Um, and then coming home and working on lesson plans and working on grading and
Fuck.
materials and all the budgeting and purchasing and shit that I have to do for my programs too, and it's a lot. Mhm.
How does your partner take it? Like, is he supportive?
It's worked well for now because he's in school right now,
And
so he's working. He's a dealer at a casino, table games dealer,
wow.
and he's in nursing school, so that's been a
Oh,
lot.
cool.
But he graduates from nursing school next month, actually, and already has a job offer at UNMH.
Oh. Oh, that's gonna help if you actually move down here.
Yeah, exactly. And
Oh, like that.
so that's like good prospects in the future. So it's worked now for me to be as busy as I am, but it's not something I want to continue long term. I'm burning out fast, man.
Okay, well, let's talk about that. What does your next 5 years look like ideally?
Not sure. Looking at potential jobs outside of Santa Fe, really wanting to venture out more, do something else. The eventual goal is to move out of state. I really want to get out of New Mexico and just see what else is out there. If I end up back in New Mexico at some point in my life, that's cool.
Yeah,
Because,
absolutely.
but I just have to experience something else. I've never lived anywhere that isn't Santa Fe.
As you fucking should. You guys also need to get out and, yeah, explore outside the country.
Yeah,
Sarah's got dragged me on a couple trips outside the country now, and I fucking love it. I have the travel bug, and I want to see the rest of the world. It's you definitely should. And actually, moving out of Santa Fe to down here was one of the best things that ever happened to me. Like it opened my eyes so much. I was in the small town mindset for the longest time that, oh, Santa Fe's my home, it's my hometown. I love it here. All my friends are here. Bro, I moved out and like I lost communication with 90% of them. I don't hear from any of them. So they're and listen, the ones that do, I see you. Thank you for keeping in touch, but it's a very small fraction of them. So yeah, you guys definitely should, and you would love it down here. It's night and day from Santa Fe. So
yeah,
I hope that works out for you. And
yeah,
if you need anything, I live down here too, so I'd be glad to assist.
yeah. Thanks, man.
Of course,
Um, the eventual goal, which my partner wants to get settled in his career before we make like a big move.
of course.
Brand new, fresh out of college, starting a nursing career. There's nursing jobs everywhere. So that's not like an issue, but the issue is like I want to have some experience and kind of know what I'm doing and know
Sure.
what I really want to do. Um, the eventual goal is I really want to move to the Pacific Northwest.
Okay.
Seattle's always been like my favorite city in the
Really,
whole world. Like, and I
bro.
know it's ridiculously expensive to live in Seattle, but like
And the sun barely exists there.
I know, but like it's so beautiful. They
You
really respect the arts in Seattle. It's a very
yes,
artsy
yes, yes,
community.
yes. That's cool.
There's I like the water. There's a lake. There's the sound right there.
Well,
Like,
I would also encourage you to visit Vancouver because we went there for the Taylor Swift Eras tour, and that place is really nice, really fucking nice. I was very impressed with it, and it's very Seattle-esque. So you cruise up there and just take a day trip and just see what it's like because you might like it there too.
yeah, yeah. The thing that scares me about that is, yeah, cost of living is ridiculously high up there. Like, I've done some
Yes.
some home shopping up there, and you don't find a house under like 900 grand.
God, that's
Like it's
nuts.
insane, and that's even like a not great house in a
Sure.
not great neighborhood.
Sure.
So it's really ridiculously expensive up there. I'd be making almost double my salary as a teacher, which is cool, and
Yeah.
my partner would be making about double his salary as a nurse as well, which is makes it a little more affordable, but it's still scary for sure.
Well, I mean, you already live in one of the most fucking expensive cities there is.
Yeah,
Santa Fe is
seriously.
outrageous, and Los Alamos, like Los Alamos used to be the one that was like, separation by huge numbers. But you look at the housing in Santa Fe versus Los Alamos now, and they're pretty much on the same level, and they're fucking significantly higher than any other city around them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that was another part of the appeal for us moving down here is like we got this house at the price I could get a fucking shed in Santa Fe.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
exactly.
you
Yeah.
know,
Part of the appeal too is you know, feeling like a big fish in a small pond. That's where I'm at right now. I don't want to say I'm like this amazing, incredible teacher or this amazing, incredible violinist, but like a lot of the musicians I've played with don't take it super seriously. And I get it because a lot of them are like older, been there, done that, and like, didn't major in music in college like I did. So it's just fun.
yeah,
They love mariachi or they love music, but
yeah,
like it's not a career the way that I think about it. There's not that drive or that passion to really like fine tune and get to that next level of musicianship, and that's what I've always wanted. So I've always felt a level of frustration of like people don't really take it all that seriously. And same with like the teachers. I have some amazing colleagues who are really good teachers, and I also work with some teachers who I'm like, "God, why are you even still doing this?
yeah.
Do you even care about your job? Like, you
I
just
can see
show up
that.
and collect your paycheck. Like, that's bullshit." And that's gonna happen everywhere. But
Sure.
in a city like Seattle, there's a lot more opportunities for like talented musicians and talented teachers to really shine. And it's not so much that I'm looking for like a glory or I'm looking for like recognition, but like I want to be challenged more. I want, to work with higher caliber students,
That's
higher
cool.
caliber colleagues,
It's
and
really
and and
admirable.
and grow more. I want to do more with my career.
That's cool. Um, well, that's a good lead in. I want to know, tell me about your accomplishments over the years because you've had several accomplishments, like big, big things. Tell me about those.
Yeah. So we have this thing called MPA every year, Music Performance Assessment. Um, It's sponsored by the New Mexico Music Educators Association, and it's something that they do in every school district. In most public schools, it's required. In private schools, it's kind of like a if you want to participate, you can. And think about it like standardized testing, but for a music class. So what you do is you bring your students as a group to perform for a panel of judges, and the panel of judges gives you a score. Um, from 0 to 100 based on several different factors. Did your kids play in tune? Did they have good technique? Did they have good rhythm? Did they play together as an ensemble? Stuff like that. So we do that every year. And prior to me taking over the program, Santa Fe High's orchestra had never received a superior rating at contest ever. They had only ever gotten an excellent rating. So think about an excellent as like a B. A
Okay.
superior rating is like an A.
Okay.
Anything above a 90. Um, and the Santa Fe High Orchestra program, a lot of the surrounding school districts and stuff never took it seriously. They were like, "Yeah, Santa Fe High sucks. Like their orchestra program sucks. I would never want to go to school there." Because the program in Los Alamos is legit. Like those kids are hardcore musicians, always have been. And a lot of the programs in the Albuquerque Rio Rancho area, same thing. Like the kids play at a really high level, play hard repertoire, have bigger groups.
Wow.
And Santa Fe High has always been like they kind of suck, whatever.
Sure.
And under my direction, especially starting the chamber orchestra, like I've had several ensembles get superior ratings at
Nice.
contest. There was one year where all three of my groups got superior ratings, even my beginners and my
Wow.
intermediate group. I've been asked to be a judge for this same contest in Albuquerque several times, in Rio Rancho a couple times.
Nice.
This last year, I was asked to be a judge down in Las Cruces. So
Wow.
I've gotten to know a lot of the orchestra teachers in the state, and it's been really cool to like be recognized as like somebody qualified enough to do something like that.
That's awesome.
Um, and then recently, in 2024, the chamber orchestra at Santa Fe High was recognized on a state level. We were awarded the New Mexico Music Educators Association All-State Honor Orchestra, meaning out of all the orchestras in the state, we got recognition for like excellence.
Wow, congratulations. That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. And I had to submit recordings and like a bunch of documentation about the program, and there's a panel of professional teachers who like listen to these and decide who's going to be recognized, and we got it. And it's the first time ever that a Santa Fe Public Schools music group has had that recognition,
Wow.
like ever. First time ever for Santa
Wow.
Fe Public Schools. And that was in 2024. So we got to perform on stage at Pope Joy Hall
Oh, cool.
for the All-State Clinic in January.
Nice.
And, we got a plaque, we got recognition, all this stuff. And it was really cool.
That
A
is
lot of
cool.
my kids who were in that group have already graduated, but they still talk about that.
That's cool.
They're like they were putting it in their college essays, like this is like
Yeah,
a major accomplishment in my life. And I was like, hell
that's amazing.
yeah.
Um, well, on that note, have you ever well, okay, so this is a two-part question. How does mariachi fit into your life nowadays? Like, is it existent at all? Do you still have a desire? Will you do it just for fun? Anything like that? And then the second part of that is, have you thought yourself about joining maybe a orchestra, maybe that's a professional?
Yeah, interesting. I still play mariachi. I play with Mariachi Azteca in Santa
Okay.
Fe.
Okay.
Um, and we stay fairly busy. We're not definitely not the busiest group, but there's people who gig like every weekend, all the time.
Sure.
Mostly summers. Like I've got no gigs at all this month. Nothing till December. It's dry season.
Sure.
So I do that as like a side thing, and because it's fun and because I enjoy
And
it.
because you're not busy enough being a teacher.
I know, right? And because I love the hell out of mariachi. Like
Yeah.
mariachi was what made me fall in love with playing the violin in the first place.
Awesome.
Um,
I love that.
I was teaching mariachi with the Santa Fe Youth Symphony Association for a couple
Oh,
years,
wow.
and that was cool. But during COVID, I got laid off because they were like, the fewer teachers we can have on the payroll, the better, because we don't know how long the situation's going to last and how this is all going to work out.
Of course.
So I was only teaching violin. I wasn't like the director. So they
Okay.
kept the director on the payroll, and they cut all of the like individual instrumental teachers.
Okay.
Um, but I haven't taught mariachi since then. And every time somebody asks me if I'd like to, I kind of don't want to. I love mariachi and I love playing it, but I don't want to teach it.
That's fair.
I love teaching orchestra. Absolutely love it. Like just the dynamic of it, the kinds of kids who take orchestra, like it's just fun. It's a fun dynamic. I
Well,
like
and it
teaching the technique and stuff.
to me it sounds like you enjoy being challenged,
I
and
do.
that shit sounds like a fucking challenge and a half. So I understand. I get it.
Anything in my life that's like been a passion or like a motivating factor has always been something challenging.
That's
Like
great.
I hate doing things because they're easy, or I
Monotony.
hate I hate doing things that's like the easy way out. Like if something is going to be challenging, you bet your ass I'm going to do it, because that's what I do. That's why I love the violin. That's why I love teaching orchestra, because it's challenging.
Well,
And
minutia is a real motivation killer. So I get
yeah,
it. I
like
get it.
I like working with the kids who are a little rough around the edges. I
That's
like
cool.
working with the kids who don't always get it the first time.
See that the school system needs more people like you, not people who fucking hate kids. That doesn't make any sense.
Oh, I love the kids who like get labeled as behavior problems, or the kids who get labeled as troublemakers.
That's
I
wild.
I love the kids who, people wouldn't say are all that smart,
You're a good
who
man.
have a really hard time picking things up. Like those are the kids I like working with because it challenges me. I'm like, they don't get it the traditional way.
Sure.
How many other different ways can I approach this to see if they get it?
Well, that's wild because I have no patience for kids, so I don't be a teacher. Very simple.
And I don't have patience for the younger kids, dude. I could not teach elementary school. Oh, hell no.
Well, but listen, in elementary school, none of those kids are going to take music seriously anyway.
That's
It's
fair.
like
That's
you
fair.
give them a kazoo and they're going to be like, "Whoa, this is the coolest thing ever! I want to be a professional kazooer."
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly.
um,
Um, so mariachi's fun. It's a passion. I love it. Love the hell out of it. I've had my moments of like, I want to play in a professional mariachi,
oh
like
wow,
like a pro group, like the ones that tour and do all that shit. But I love my teaching career, and I don't know that I would want to. I don't know that I
give
would
that
want to
up.
leave that.
Well, what about the professional orchestra? Is that something you would ever do or consider?
I've thought about it. There was a slot open in the Santa Fe Symphony. I think it was last year, and I prepped all of the audition materials.
Oh, wow.
But when it came to actually taking the audition, I never did.
Well, let's go hypothetical here and assume that one day somebody's like, "Hey, I heard about this dude Gabe. Let's go ask him." And they just come to you and they're like, "Hey, we need a badass violinist in our orchestra. Would you like to do that?"
Honestly, playing in an orchestra intimidates the hell out of me.
You're an orchestra like master, dude.
I know, right? It's weird. Um, I doubt myself too much.
That's
I
fair.
really, really struggle to find the confidence to say I'm good enough to do this.
But on that note, look at everything that you've overcome in your lifetime that was fucking challenging as shit, not from your um sexual preferences in life and the rejection that came with your community to becoming a teacher with the some of the worst kids to some of the best kids and transforming the sound of it. Like you've been through a lot of challenges, bro. That should not be one that's intimidating to you.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. The problem is in the classical music world, there's a lot of elitism and there's a lot of arrogance. There's a lot of people who have
Okay.
enormous egos. And
That's every aspect of life though too.
yeah, but there's a lot of like, I'll just say it to your face, like
Okay.
you don't belong here. Like you shouldn't do this.
And then you tell them, fuck off. I earned my way here.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. And I don't know, there's a whole aspect of like I don't know that I would be good enough to play in an orchestra. I tell myself that all the time.
Okay, well, I beg to differ, but you keep telling yourself that.
And I do still take private lessons. My violin teacher is amazing. He's got a doctorate in violin performance, and
Wow.
he teaches out of a university in Texas. And
Holy
he's
shit.
God, he has transformed my playing so much. I've been taking lessons with him for like 3 years now, and
Wow.
it's been amazing working with him. Like
So
I've learned so much.
so not only are you continually teaching, you're continually learning.
Yeah, and I love taking lessons as an adult because a lot of the stuff that my teacher tells me, I can directly transfer to my students.
Oh, cool.
And it has directly transferred in a lot of ways. I'm like, I remember my teacher telling me to do this when I was having this problem, and it's worked with my kids. Like it's been
Wow, that's
awesome.
awesome.
And I never want to stop learning, you know? I've never been, I don't know if you ever felt this way in Santa Fe, but in a big way, I always felt like everybody in Santa Fe is content with things just being good enough.
Oh, Gabe, you need to go back and listen to my podcast, bro, from the beginning because I don't I've never said it directly about Santa Fe. I've made it a broad generalization about northern New Mexico in total, but yes, I feel that way about most northern New Mexicans. They have this life where they have a mobile home and it's paid off and they have a plot of land and that's paid off and their life consists of coming outside on the front porch in the morning, drinking a beer and maybe getting another one in the afternoon and that's their life and they're content with that. Like there's no ambition or plans to travel the world. And I'm again broad generalizing. I don't think that every northern New Mexican is like that. I just feel like it's sort of a small town mentality where people are just accepting of this is what my life is and I'm okay with that instead of being like, this is cool, but I want to try this or I want to go here or I want to do that. And I think that's kind of a waste of talent because you don't know who's sitting in those trailers doing nothing when they could be something great at something else.
Yeah.
It's very limiting, but yeah, I completely understand what you're saying.
Yeah, that's been a major frustration of mine kind of my whole life growing up in Santa Fe because I've always been like that small town kid who wants to do more.
Yeah,
Like I've always wanted to do more. I never want to stop improving at everything that I do.
that's amazing.
Like I don't know, maybe it's the autism. I was also diagnosed with ADHD, and I was like, I don't know that I saw that for a long time because like I was the studious kid who like got perfect grades on everything all the time. But the more I look back on it, I'm like, God, I can't shut up when I'm like in certain situations, and like I'm that person who like can't sit still for 2 seconds. So
Hey, you've done great here.
yeah. So I don't know if it's just that because like there's an aspect of the diagnosis that's like special interest. Like when you get into something, you're like obsessed with it and it becomes like your whole personality. So I don't know if it's just that, but like when I do something, I want to be like, if not the best, I want to be like at a really high proficiency level when
God
I
damn
do
it, Gabe,
something.
you are absolutely confirming my wife's self-diagnosis of me being autistic. Everything you're saying, like you're putting it on me, and now it's true. I'm just kidding. Well, you have been incredibly generous with your time, and I can't thank you enough for the vulnerability. I'm sorry everything you've gone through in your life, but I appreciate you as a person and as a friend. You're fucking amazing, dude, and I hope that all of your dreams come true because you deserve it. You're a badass, and yeah, you should just keep striving to be better because you are that.
Oh,
So,
thank you.
thank you for coming down here and telling us all these stories and giving us the time. But real quick before we get out of here, if people want to follow you on social media or take advantage of your tutoring or any of that kind of stuff, shout out all of the places they can find you.
I honestly don't know my Instagram handle because I like never look at it. But I do have a website, gabetafoyaviolin.com. I've got all my contact info on there. You could request lessons or just, send me a message, whatever. Yeah,
Well, you do a lot of videos online, right?
I do.
And is that Instagram? I don't remember where I see them.
Yeah, mostly. I've got a YouTube channel, but there's like hardly anything on there. I don't do much with that.
Okay, Facebook,
Yeah,
TikTok.
I don't do TikTok.
Me either. Are you on X?
No,
Blue Sky, any of those things?
no.
Cool, perfect.
I lay pretty low on the internet for the most part.
Yeah, you kind of gotta, otherwise you get labeled as some shit that you're not.
Oh, exactly.
All right, well, thank you again for doing this, man. I really appreciate you. And all of you Joes, do the like, comment, subscribe thing. Go get some lessons from Gabe. He's a really cool dude, and he's going to teach you really well. So, and then come back next week, and we'll have another guest, and we'll talk about it. All right, bud. Thanks. Bye bye. Bro, that was amazing. That was so good.
Man. That was fun.
Yeah, dude. Such a good conversation. That really was fun. I'm absolutely gonna love editing this one, putting it up. So good. Yeah, I really can't thank you enough, man.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. That was
Of course.
I don't get to talk about my experiences much.
Well, as they grow and modify, we can come back and do it again, right? I have no problem with that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for the invite.
Yeah, of course, man.